if we look at the history of training in India, and if we start from the ancient era itself, that is, if we look at starting with the Mauryan administration, the Mauryan administration. So in Mauryan administration, the training is an idea which has been talked about, but training is a concept which in Mauryan administration has primarily been limited to the office of the king. So if you look at the Arthashastra, you look at the Arthashastra, so yes, the Arthashastra does have some references to training, but it talks about primarily the training of the king. It does what? It talks about what? The training of the king. Where it highlights what exactly are the important traits that are required for the king to have. And in that traits, it does talk about a professional knowledge of political science. It does talk about, professional knowledge of political science, economics. It does talk about this, but mostly you can say that the training that Arthashastra talks about is primarily at the pre-entry level. That is, these are the skills that the king should have, not before he no it is not that he is to gain those skills after he is appointed as the king. No, it is certain skills that are required for the king to have even before the king is formally designated to be the king, which means that primarily Arthashastra talks about pre-entry training. It talks about pre-entry training. It talks about pre-entry training. Similarly, for administration as well, for members of administration as well, Arthashastra it does prescribe certain skills. But again, the skills that are prescribed are not to be learned after the people or those individuals have been recruited within the job. Rather, it should be those skills which they should have even before they enter there, which means again pre-entry level is what primarily has been focused upon. Okay, and because Arthashastra, which we will be talking about in later discussions, because that's a part of your syllabus, so you will find that it gives, it has elaborately dealt with the office of the king. So it has come up with various recommendations related to the office of the king. Okay, it has come up with various recommendations related to the office of the king. Okay, anyways, so Arthashastra and the training of the king, that is primarily Mauryan administration. It has certain references of training. Similarly, if you look at if you look at Mughal administration, because Mughal administration was primarily, Mughals were primarily a police state. So there, there also when they talk about training, they talk about training primarily with respect to maintenance of law and order. Okay, so not much of references of training in Mughal administration. So in modern context, if we have to look at training, so training in India in modern context, In modern context, training has been elaborately dealt with, has been elaborated in British administration. In British administration, it has been elaborated. In fact, you would find that there have been certain references to training, like if we go back to the early 1800s, early 1800, there was a institution which was established for training of civil servants called as the Hailbury College. This was the earliest, this was the earliest training institution which has been established in India. Earliest training institution which was in modern context established by the Britishers. Okay. However, if we talk, and primarily what were the specific, the specific areas where this college used to train civil servants. So they were primarily trained with respect to history, law, and language. Okay, so the focus of training initially by this college was history of India, laws that were implemented in India, and as well as language. These were the three important areas where the British did what? British focused upon, training in India. Okay. Now, if you come a bit, more recently, that is post Second World War. So after Second World War, there was a training institution which was established in Dehradun. There was a training institution that was established called as the Camp School, and this particular institution, was used for training of civil servants, or new entrants into of civil servants, primarily those who were the part of ICS, Imperial Civil Services, that were there. They were primarily trained here. Okay. Post independence, after independence, the training of recruits to ICS, or you can say IAS, was taken up at Metcalfe House in Delhi. So Metcalfe House in Delhi was primarily where the IAS were trained post independence. Post independence. If you are a resident of Delhi, if you ever come to Delhi, so near Delhi University, North Campus of Delhi University itself, if you go towards something what is called as the Ring Road, so you would find that there is a Metcalfe House that is located there, and that is where the training of IAS was taken post independence. However, in 1959, this was primarily changed, and there were both these institutions that were there, which was in Dehradun and Metcalfe House. These institutions were merged, and the Academy for Administration, the National Academy for Administration, was established in Mussoorie. National Academy for Administration. National Academy for Administration. It was established in Mussoorie. It was established in Mussoorie. Later on, this institution was called as the Lal Bahadur Shastri for Administration. Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. Okay. Later on, it was named Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. That is Labasna. Or it was actually Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for Administration. It was Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for Administration. Okay. And since 1959 itself, you would find that institutional training of young IAS officers that are there, it is taken up. It is taken up in Mussoorie itself. It's taken up in Mussoorie itself. Okay. Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. It is taken up in Mussoorie itself. Okay. So we have seen the context, Arthashastra, primarily because Arthashastra was a particular thesis which focused upon in very details Mauryan administration and administration during the ancient times. It was the most important linchpin of administration was primarily the king. No, it was the king which was the most important office. It was the king which was the most important. It was the king which was the most important officer of administration. So his responsibility, primarily everything was his responsibility. Okay, and that is the reason why. That is exactly the reason why you would find that the Arthashastra also focused on what are the duties that the king is supposed to perform. And while Kautilya was detailing the duties, Kautilya made references as to why or the traits that the king should possess. And therefore, what are the specific areas where the king should be trained before the individual becomes the king. So what are the necessary traits? And therefore, he talked about, he made certain references to training. But training at that particular time was mostly, you can say, it was mostly theoretical by nature, as was prescribed by Kautilya. Later on, when it comes to modern training or modern references to training, we have to primarily credit the Britishers for it, because they were the ones who introduced modern concept of training in India, where in early 1800s they even established a institution, and this institution, in fact, not just one institution, they in fact established two institutions. If you go to the year 1800, there was something called as a Fort Williams, which was established. Then this institution got closed in 1802. Within 2 years, Fort Williams, it was closed down. And then a new institution, the Hailbury College, where the ideas of young recruits that were there to civil services and what are the areas that they were to be trained in, वो हम समझे. And then post World War, no, there was an institution, Imperial Civil Services के लिए देहरादून में, and then after independence it became the Metcalfe House in Delhi, and then these two academies were merged in 1959. A institution at Mussoorie was established, and finally this institution came to be known as the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. Okay. And now this is the designated institution for training of IAS officers. Okay. And it also provides foundation course. अगर आप लाल बहादुर शास्त्री of Academy for Administration देखोगे, National Academy for Administration, so you will find that it primarily does two things. First of all, it is the designated training institution for IAS officers. So the IAS officers that are there, whatever their institutional training is about, so their institutional training takes place in this very institution at Mussoorie. It also provides foundation course. ये जो foundation course which we have been talking about since yesterday, and today we will be dealing with it in details. That foundation course is for IPS officers, in Indian Police Service officers that are there. That is also provided by Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. पहले क्या होता था, that if you just go back 10-12 years, you would find that the total recruitment of every individual in civil services was around 300-400. That was the, every year 400 vacancies were notified, or 300-400 people were recruited. So the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration had the strength to allow all these 400 candidates to be present there, and accordingly foundation course for all civil servants in every service through UPSC was taken up by Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration. But with the recruitment strength that in the last 10 odd years, you will find that the recruitment has gone up, and it's not 300-400 candidates anymore. Now it is in the range of 1000 candidates. So 1000, 1100, 900, somewhere around that. That is the reason why, because it does not have that kind of a strength. It cannot house that number. That is the reason why now foundation course for only IAS and IPS is provided at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, and the rest of the services that are there, whether it is revenue services, whether it is railway services, etc., they are taken up by the respective training institutions. So if you see the revenue services officials, they are trained in Nagpur. So there is a institution in Nagpur for revenue services and direct taxes that are there. Indirect taxes, I think it is in Faridabad, somewhere around that. So they are, accordingly, there are designated institutions that are there, and these designated institutions take up training of their respective services. Okay. Now foundation course and the professional course, all of it is taken up by them. And now Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for Administration is responsible for training both foundation and professional course for IAS. And when it comes to IPS, their foundation course is conducted at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, whereas their professional course is conducted in their respective institution, which is in, where it is in the state, it is in Hyderabad, and there is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy, which is located in Hyderabad. Okay.